You're listening to Excellence Above Talent, a podcast where we have the hard conversations about the lives of men and what leads us to achieve greatness and suffer defeat. Hear from other men's journeys as well, as we all learn and grow together to become inspirations to ourselves and those around us. And now your host, Aaron Thomas.
What's up, my beautiful people? Aaron Thomas with Excellence Above Talent. Here with my good friend, Adam Lucio, doing great things in this community, great things for the world. My man just started a commercial for HEB. So he's also a famous person here in Odessa.
Whole 6 seconds.
Whole 6 seconds, but it was good, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you having me on, bro.
Yes, sir. So I want to, just jump into it, man. Kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, Adam, and then we'll go from there.
So yeah, I'm a native Texan, West Texan. Grew up here in Odessa. I'm 31 years old. For those who don't know me, I'm a paraplegic. I'm in primary use of a wheelchair. I use a wheelchair to get around everywhere. I was in a car accident when I was 5 months old, so this is pretty much all I know. I never had a transition from an able body to a wheelchair lifestyle. It was always just kind of a wheelchair. I got my first chair when I was 4, and it was kind of from history from there.
Yeah.
I've always been really involved with athletics. I went to Oklahoma State on a D1 wheelchair basketball scholarship. I've been a tennis coach for 10 years. I get my own kind of endeavors as far as, triathlon, marathon, biking, cycling, stuff like that. I'm really into as much as activity I can get into here, locally. So, that's kind of what I do. I'm also in my own endeavors of creating my Impasa project. Impasa is the Swedish word for adapt. And I want everybody to know that with the right attitude, you can adapt over any obstacle that comes your way. So that's been my whole mantra. If you've never seen any of my posts, one of my biggest mottos is adapt and achieve.
Yes,
and
sir.
I think that's just a lifestyle and a mindset that I've been living by here for past, I'd say, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, he has inspirational and also funny as heck videos. Sometimes it's just like, where does he get this stuff from? But it's hilarious. So follow him on all platforms, right?
Right, yeah. And it's just my name, Adam __ Lucio, Lucio. And on TikTok, it's just 1 underscore. But somebody stole my regular name on Instagram, just Adam Lucio.
Yeah.
And they don't even use it. Like, they haven't posted in like 6 years.
Oh, they just have the name.
Can you just give me the handle, man? I just want my name. But no, Adam __ Lucio on Instagram. And I try to get, like Aaron said, I try to bring all kinds of different content because just the straight inspirational stuff can get, old at the time,
mm-hmm.
and people will stop viewing that content, and people want to see exciting things. People want to see, the other sides of you too.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'm as equally inspirational as I am funny. You know what I mean? And I like to bring that side of people because people assume that just because of my situation that I might not see the humorous or the brighter side of things, and that's absolutely wrong. You know what I mean? It's just in your mindset and how you live your life.
Got you. So I think this is the first question I'm going to ask everyone whenever they jump on this podcast. Mm-hmm. So the suicide rate is men are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than women. So we're just going to jump right into it. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that rate is so high amongst men?
Man, I think which is devastating. I feel like to just the human race as a whole, because whether you're even a feminist or not, like, men are a part of everyone's life, brothers, fathers, grandfathers, you know what I mean? And the fact that all of these guys are feeling this way is devastating. And I think it just kind of stems down to the mentality of, I'll handle it myself.
Yeah.
Me as a man, I know I have a lot of problems asking for help.
For sure.
And that's kind of been a chip on my shoulder just because of my disability. I've always wanted to prove that I can do this. You know, hey, I don't need no one's help. I can do. I can get the door. I can, do all this. Down to the most minuscule things to the grandest things. I try to do them all independently, and not just because of my disability. People might not think I can do it, but because I'm a man, you know what I mean? And I want to be able to do those things for my family, for my son, you know what I mean? I want to be able to do everything on my own. And if somebody with the same mindset, with the same kind of mentality thinks that their only option is to not be around anymore, well, they're going to take care of that themselves.
Yeah.
And they're not going to wait around for life to hand them their cars. They're just going to, you know what? I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to do that on my own and rid everybody else of the problem when in fact, a lot of people don't know that there is a problem. Yeah. And because whether we don't want to talk about it or we don't want to, reach out for help, or we don't want the perception of being weak or not being enough. And, they just take care of it themselves. And which is sad. Yeah. And I feel like if they knew that there's support out there and they knew that there's group of people willing to just be genuine and talk and be there for them, I feel like it'd be a lot different story.
Yeah. The perception of weakness, who defines that and where the heck does that come from?
Society. What we see on TV, what we never see, Hollywood movies of guys going to, of guys that we like to look up to going to therapy. They're always like either the drugged there by their wives. Yeah. They're either, they're making it into comedy. They never make serious, again, counseling scenes. There's no actors that we look up to, athletes that we look up to that are, now there are. I think Kyrie's doing a lot of mental health stuff. A lot of the newer guys are starting to do that stuff. But before, that was something funny to talk about. You know what I mean? And if you needed help, then bro, why can't you just suck it up? You know what I mean? Suck it up. That's always been the mentality. And I think by the way society perceives weak men is just by asking for help. Yeah. Asking for not being able to do it on your own. Why can't you do it on your own if you're a man? You know what I mean? And that's not what being a man means. It means knowing all realms of the situation and understanding and having a full grasp of what's going on. Yeah, for sure. So you brought up, what is a man or define a man? How would you define, what is your definition of the best man for you or that you see in this world? Awareness. I feel like self-awareness is 100% the key because I'm very aware of my capabilities, not only as a disabled man, but just as a regular man. Gotcha. I know that my body might not be able to do the same things that yours does, but my voice can. Yeah. And I have a voice, and that's my power. You know what I mean? And I can use that as whatever tool I need it to be. You know what I mean? But it's 100% awareness. Being aware of your weaknesses, being aware of your strengths, being aware of who's around you, being aware of your surroundings, what people you're engaging with, whether you're guilty by association, being with the wrong crowd, wrong time. Those are all self-awareness things that you got to self-reflect in and rely on yourself. But if you don't have that awareness, or if there's no one there to kind of guide you for it, you're lost. Yeah. And that's where a lot of guys are at that time. And they just need a little guidance. They don't need a lot of help. Yeah. I bet you if just someone to talk to, hey, you should maybe look into this and have them do their own research of things would be so much more help than just kind of saying, oh, hey, tough it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, suck it up. You know? So things like that are just, I feel like where we lack right now in society as men as a whole is just kind of being aware of who we are and what everyone else needs from us as well. Man, I live by this philosophy. Everything is my fault. Yeah. And it's because I don't want to waste energy on trying to look for blame as to other people. So if I can say everything is my fault, if something happened, like in my relationship or at work, I'm not looking towards my coworkers or my spouse. I'm not looking towards anyone. I'm looking towards myself as far as like, you could have done better. Right. Where was it at that I messed up on? Or, there was something I could have done differently
to like not put myself in that situation.
Right.
And I'm here, so let's find out, why I got here.
Yeah.
So awareness to me, 100%. And I think that's something that isn't really like talked about, or like, like awareness wasn't like, I didn't become aware of myself until like later on in my life.
Well, everybody assumes that it comes at once you're 21, you're aware. Once you're an adult, you're aware. We talked about that before the mic was on. That's 100% not the case.
Yeah.
You become more and more aware of yourself as within you understand yourself, and you grow as a person, and that's so much more than physically. It's mentally as well. You have to go through stuff to be able to know who you are as a person. If you don't go through any adversities, then you're not going to know who you are when you're tested.
Yeah.
And knowing your strong points, your low. For instance, I don't like long distance traveling. I don't, especially on like vacations or something. I'd much rather travel for business. I get real anxiety. I get real anxious when I'm about to travel, whether it's just leaving my family here, my son, my mom, all that stuff. I don't like leaving. I don't know. I don't like the feeling, but knowing that I'm aware of that, I'll schedule less stuff on my planner for the week before a trip, because I'm not trying to have a bunch of stuff on my plate. Plus being anxious about the trip that I have in a couple of days. You know what I mean? I know that all of my stuff that I do before that is not going to be 100% because other stuff's on my mind. Yeah. So I'm aware. Again, I'm aware of what I'm weak at and where I need help at, and I just kind of commit to myself during that time. And I'm a lot less social during that time, and I'm a lot, I'm more to myself, just because I'm gathering myself and preparing myself to not fail. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So I feel like that's big on me, and that's just a small example, but again, just being aware of where you're weakest, and then trying to plan around that for success.
Got you. I love that, man. So we were going to talk about off the mic, but I kind of want to talk about it on the mic. Mm-hmm. The state of manhood, and how, when my grandpa was living, it was, you provide and protect. But I feel like there's a shift that's happening with, society and the roles that men and women play. Mm-hmm. So do you think that could also be a reason why there's just a lot of, the violence and suicides that are happening amongst men? There's just, they're lost, they're trying to figure out, their role that they need to play now in this new society that we're living in?
I feel like there's a false narrative on the standard of man.
Got you.
Everybody's happiness is going to look 100% different.
For sure.
Your ideal of happiness is not mine. It's going to be 100%. Of course, we have some similarities. Yeah. We like some of the nicer things, some of the materialistic things. Yeah. But there could be a janitor working at a school that's 10 times happier than the CEO who's making millions.
For sure. And
that's just because of what they're doing and how they feel about themselves.
Gotcha.
So the level of happiness is going to be a different everywhere, even every person, but somewhere along the line, we set a standard for everyone. And if you're not making so much, you're not happy. Gotcha. If you don't have this title, you're not happy. Gotcha. If you don't have this woman, you're not happy. If you don't have this, salary, you're not happy. When everybody got this, even women today have this chase the bag mentality. Let me go chase it. Let me go get it. When we are the bag, we are the prize.
For sure.
We are the value. What we have inside ourselves, what we do, the trades that we have, those are the value. We don't have to chase anything. We have to bring it out of ourselves.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
I think that that's where the perception is that we're chasing something which is not there. We're just chasing an invisible thing. And when you don't get it after working so hard, you think down on yourself. You think down when in reality it was in you the whole time.
Yeah, man. Nuggets, man. So there's an analogy that says, if you chase a cat, the cat will always run. Mm-hmm. You'll never catch a cat, because a cat will only come to you when it's ready to come to you, right? And so essentially what you're saying is, you know, if you stop chasing the bag, if you stop chasing the things that people value as like important, and start working on your traits
work
and
on
the
yourself,
things.
work on your traits, work on your skills, on your passions, on your trades.
Yeah, and the bag will come to you.
The things that you can do already. And God already supplied you with the gifts that you need.
Gotcha.
You already have everything within inside you. You just need to apply them at what you're good at.
Yeah.
And then those things are going to come naturally.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, society has this standard that we're just trying to meet to. Women have these standards that they post about. We all think that these things that's where we need to be. And not everybody has that same access. Not everybody's going to be at the same spot. Everybody's, again, monetarily not in the same spot. So it's hard. You can't just get those. And that's why you got so many people faking it. That's why we have fake designer clothes.
Gotcha.
That's why we have these, because people are trying to meet these standards that are not there. Yeah. And if you just look within, makes yourself happy, and look how to make yourself happy, and how to make yourself every day continuously happy, better as a person, then that's all you'll need. And you'll notice how less those things become important. Yeah. How you don't window shop no more. I don't remember the last time I went, going to the mall and because I realized that those material things aren't what you need. Yeah, I got a bunch of shoes already, but man, those are nothing, bro. Those I can throw those away, and I wear the same pair every day.
Would you really throw them away?
I'd probably sell them.
Yeah.
Invest in the business.
How many pair of shoes do you have? I'm curious.
I started collecting when I was 16.
Yeah.
And I probably stopped buying them probably 2013. Yeah. 2013 was the last time I think I remember camping out at the mall for a shoe, because I really wanted them. But I probably got around 220 something. Something like
220?
Yeah.
See, when you said something like that, I feel like you have way more than 220.
No, but man, recently I haven't been wearing them. And it's just because it's like, bro, I'm gonna be way too worried about getting these dirty, I'm like, that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? It's about what you do while you're in them, what you do while you're out there. And it just became as you start to realize where your money's going and what you're doing with it. And you're like, okay, I feel like that's just kind of the maturity of kind of growing up, like you said. Yeah. But then you still have a love for it, whatever that passion is, whether it's shoes, cars, firearms, all those things you can still, again, invest in, but don't do it because you're trying to meet a standard. Yeah. Don't do it because you're trying to impress other people. Yeah. And that's what I was doing it for back then. Yeah. And now I don't have the urge to impress anyone. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm cool with what I got. Yeah. It happens to be a lot, but I don't have to go buy the next release to be cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? To be, to impress others. And I feel like that's where I maturely grew, because there's no use for it, man. If you're happy, then what else matters?
Man, so there's a saying that I wholeheartedly love by Lisa Nichols, and she says, "You don't have to defend, protect, hide, or prove who you are to anyone." And I'm essentially hearing that you kind of what you just said as far as like proving yourself to people. When did you stop proving yourself to people, or when did you start to understand that's not something that you have to do in order to live your best life?
I feel like there's still, it doesn't just stop cold turkey. Got you. And if that's what anyone's expecting, you're gonna have it's disappointing results, because you don't just start and stop right there and just stop forgetting about what everyone thinks. You know what I mean? Sure. It goes in stages of people. So at first, for me, it was the strangers. I would get a lot of stares everywhere, because of my chair. And I would get a lot of stares and kids who wouldn't understand my disability. And even to adults who would just kind of stare at my mom, whether, she was pushing my chair, picking me up, doing something. We would get the most ugliest reactions. And those would hurt. Those would hurt me so much. And I don't know if they hurt me because of how I felt or because how I saw my mom felt. My mom would try so hard for me not to see those people. She would try to shield me from those reactions. So I didn't like that feeling of my mom being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? My parents being to where they felt that they were being influenced by the people around, strangers that we didn't even know. And that's when I felt like those are the first people I lost first. I'm like, strangers are going to have their own perception whether they know you or not.
Yeah.
They think it's going to be good or bad. And you could be doing the best stuff and they're still going to have their own perception. You can't change that.
Yeah.
So I lost strangers first. The next thing is friends. You know, you're worried about what your friends are going to think about you. What are my friends going to think about me if I make this post? What are my friends going to think about me if I ask for help? But are they really your friends if you're worried about what they're going to think about you?
Got you.
You know what I mean? So
without one without wanting to help you or trying to push
without
you.
genuine concern.
I got you.
Without genuine concern. Are they really your friends at all? Yeah. So then you start forgetting about them. You know what? If they're not really my friends, if they're not, genuinely concerned about me, if they're not asking on their own. You know what I mean? That's something that, if you're a friend, you would see, in a difference of attitude or the way they're acting or behavior, you would notice that thing. So I feel like you start losing friends. And then it's maybe your job, maybe, the people that you're close to at work because you have to be. I mean, what are they going to think if I start doing this, if I say that I need a mental health break, if I say that I need to, take my day off, my boss is going to be mad. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave everybody shorthanded at work.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand what's going on. You know what I mean? So you're worried about their perception. You got to lose them. And then it's family. What's my mom going to think? What's my dad going to think? What's my sister going to think? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's stages.
Yeah.
And once you can get past all those stages and realize that no one's going to know you more than yourself.
Yeah.
No one's going to have the better interest or the better investment in you than you.
Yeah.
Then that's when you grow. And that's when you're like, okay, none of these people can help me unless I help myself first.
Yeah.
But you have to go through the stages. And it's hard to do all of them, much less one stage. So you got to give yourself time.
Yeah.
Okay. These are a set of people that I'm going to, kind of maybe if I need to ask for my, help, distance myself, get closer to. Again, you have to have those own stages before you can, again, grow within yourself, because growth is a marathon, not a race.
Yeah.
I tell this to people all the time, especially, I have a lot of, people in my circumstance, disability, people in my wheelchairs that follow me, and a lot of them happen to be overweight.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I'm 250 pounds, I'm 300 pounds in the chair. And that could be detrimental to your health a wheelchair. Not only walking, but in a wheelchair. You can't transfer the same, you can't shower the same, your hygiene is different, your blood circulation is different, you're not moving those legs, so everything gets more dangerous. But they want to lose weight. Oh, I want to get skinny within the summer. That's not going to happen. How long did it take you to get that big?
Yeah.
So that's what I said. How long did it take you to get to this stage to where you feel like you need help? You feel like you're in the realm where nobody knows what you're going through. Well, that's how long it's going to take to get out.
Yeah.
You got to expect the long haul. You can't expect immediate gratification. That's nowhere almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless you win the lottery and the odds at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's no instant gratification in anything. It's a marathon, and you got to realize that if you're going to commit to a better self, a better mindset, it's going to take stages. And write it out, document it out. You can have a journal, you know what I mean? Whatever, again, have a buddy, like, whoever you can pen pal, message in the morning, whatever, to keep you on trail, keep you on course, you know what I mean? Whatever you do to hold yourself accountable, I feel like it's 100% worth it.
Got you. What would you say to people who are in wheelchairs, who are struggling mentally to live their life?
It's something that I think it's an everyday growth.
Yeah.
I feel like some people, I know some people in chairs who are 100% committed to walking again.
Yeah.
When physically it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's still that they've walked before. Maybe they were a great athlete at one time. Maybe they were a soldier. Maybe they were, an able-bodied dad that used to be able to pick up their kids. You know what I mean? And that's all stripped away from them now.
Yeah.
And they're just committed to getting back to that. And I feel like you need to be happy with yourself first. I feel like whether it's committing to the chair or not, I feel like once you're happy with who you are, then you can grow, then you can seek therapy, then you can go and better yourself. But if you can't help others unless you help yourself first. I feel like it's that analogy when when you get in an airplane.
Yeah.
The first thing that the stewardess says when those airbags drop, when the oxygen drops, cover your own head, cover your own mask, give your own self some oxygen, and then you get your kids. Because if you're going to spend too much time worrying about trying to help someone else, you're going to lose out yourself, and now no one's helped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Secure yourself first. Make sure you're okay mentally, emotionally, and then you can pour out into others.
Gotcha.
And I feel like so many other people in wheelchairs have this. And it's not just people in wheelchairs, but it's mostly newly disabled.
Gotcha.
The newly disabled, I feel like, need the most help because they're going through the most transition. And they didn't all have the luxury of me having to grow up in my chair. I have 31 years experience.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to do everything a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, again, they see me and they set a false standard.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not your standard. You're your own standard.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, let's focus on, creating a better diet for yourself so that way you're not worried about gaining weight in your chair. Let's focus on better ways to transfer on and off the toilet so that way you're not worried about falling.
Yeah.
And those are victories for you. Those are what matters to you, not what you're seeing on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm just showing you what the level could be if you keep on going. You know what I mean? And this is what this kind of consistency gets you. And there's dudes out there way better than me. And those are the guys that I'm watching. You know what I mean? But you got to, again, set goals for yourself and not setting yourself to other standards.
Got you. There's a stat that's kind of alarming that I've talked to a few people about. And it says the average age of a man to mature is 43. And so it's something that is... study that was done, so it's a true fact. What do you think of that, and why do you think it's so freaking old? Because I mean, at 43, like, you're halfway. As a man, you've already halfway lived your life, man, and you're barely coming into maturity in the average age. And I can also see it because, like, I'm 35, and there's still some maturity in me that I have to deal with as well. But why do you think an average age is 43 for men?
And I feel like we need to scale that whole statistic back too.
All right.
What's the standard of maturity?
For sure.
What's the standard of maturity? Is that laughing at farts?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's, you know what I mean? Like, what's
you're
really
right. Because I'm probably still going to laugh at a fart
that's all the time. I feel like that's the biggest sign of maturity within kids. I've worked with kids a bunch. You know what I mean? And you could always tell what level of maturity when someone farts. Yeah. Because either everybody would try to keep their composure and not laugh because they know it was embarrassing, or everybody's just going to bust out and hilarious laughter. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
I feel like there's a false standard to what maturity is too, because there are also women who are just as dirty-minded, funny, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. The average age of a woman is 32, though.
32?
Yeah, so 32 for women,
to what,
43.
To
yeah, for sure.
I would 100% agree that women are more mature.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because some levels of maturity, I've had plenty of ladies that said stuff that made me blush. You know what I mean? Like, man, I would have never said nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, there are just different levels and standards, but I feel like the reason it takes men so long is because I would say there's like a different camaraderie with men and other men. Okay. When guys are together, it's different. If you can put 5 guys together, but if you put one girl in there, it's going to change the whole dynamic.
For sure.
I mean? Because you got guys, again, aiming to this, I guess, imaginary standard of what she's going to think. Yeah. Oh, she's going to think I'm a bonehead for doing this. She's going to think I'm dumb for doing this. She's going to think I'm stupid for doing it. So everybody's kind of different. One guy's trying to impress her. One guy doesn't care about her. One guy, you know what I mean? It's going to affect the dynamic of everybody. But if you take her out, now everybody thinks they're on the same level. Now everybody's exactly equal.
All the guys are kind of relaxed. And
right,
just,
everybody's just chilling,
saying.
right? So I feel like that's, again, the most crazy dynamic. And that happens just because not everybody settles down at the same age.
Gotcha.
So if a man with a woman in the house all the time is going to act different than a guy who lives completely single.
Gotcha.
So, and not everybody has the same age of settling down. And I feel like because men don't have that image so less as women. Women, I feel like women have pretend weddings while they're
with like kids and stuff.
Girls,
yeah,
you know what I mean, like
they take care of babies and
they're so much more mature. They were thinking about that stuff way earlier. And I feel like
we're getting scraped up in the street and eating
right. But that's
dirt
not
pies.
That's not every woman's goal either.
For sure.
Set that either. That's
For
not,
sure.
That's again another false standard that you got to be married at a certain age.
Gotcha.
But a lot of women believe that, whether it's because of maternal stuff. That everybody has their window of the best pregnancies and stuff. So I can see a lot of women wanting to get mature faster because they almost have a timeline. You know what I mean? And men, they don't have that unless they have an important woman in their life that they're trying to continue to be that for.
Yeah. And I also feel like if you're a parent, a mother has to mature way faster because, she has a kid that she's looking after and making sure that kid doesn't, die, in her watch. And then,
again, even if you think with the human anatomy.
Yeah.
Women mature so much more. They go the menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
That happens earlier. And at that time, boys are still have no clue and they're still out there doing whatever. You know what I mean? So again, I feel like there's a timeline that women have that they're kind of always been driven to. They have a timeline of what they should do at a certain time, where they should be at this age. And they get scrutinized if they're not there, which is wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like because it's been like that, they've been able to mature so much faster than we have.
Yeah, I've dealt with some guys, and they got divorced, and they couldn't cook for themselves. They've never been grocery shopping. They don't know how to clean. Don't know how to wash clothes. I feel like that is something that all men should at least know, like, some part of. You should know how to clean after yourself. You should know how to.
You should have brought that with you to the marriage.
Yeah, for sure. You should know how to
because
wash your clothes and cook for yourself and things of that nature.
The false narrative that women do all that for you shouldn't be it either.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if one person washes the clothes better, then that person should wash the clothes. It don't matter who does what. You know what I mean? Like, do your part is what is important. And the fact that you go into a relationship knowing none of that is a red flag on you.
But I also think it's like the roles, right? Like, a man's role assumed in this society is to go out there to work, to come home, to give the money, and that's essentially it. And then everything else is on his wife to take care of everything else, which I think is also pretty bogus because he's also not doing what he needs to do to take care of his family, both mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Like financially, yes, he's taking care of them, but they're missing out on everything else from him, and he's assuming that he's doing everything that he possibly can to make
they just want him home.
100%.
And it's all about balance. And being aware. Like we said earlier, being aware of what needs need to be met and what needs aren't being met at all. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like needs aren't just physical, they're emotional, they're mental. You know what I mean? And everybody assumes that if you have shelter and clothes and food and all of that in a house and bills, you're fine. And that's not the case. Yeah. It starts inside and it works your way out. And I feel like both sides have these false narratives of what each role should do when each relationship is going to be different.
For sure.
Each dynamic is going to be different. And I feel like everybody has to find their own happy medium. Yeah. And stop living to these idealistic standards of what the society shows us, what social media shows us. Social media is a highlight reel. Yeah. All these, Instagram couples, all these Instagram people, even the single dudes, These are all highlight reels.
It's only when it's good.
They're only showing the
It's
best
whenever
things.
they'll take those pictures, but when it's bad.
Right. And when they're real, I'm not saying everyone's like that. Because you do see people document, like especially in my case, you see people document their injuries and their growth. And I applaud them to that because that's real. That's what's
it's courageous.
Really going on. Right.
Yeah.
So, but if you only see positive things on that, that's a highlight reel. That's not the real life. You know what I mean? That's just what they want to show you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What do you think? So your definition of a high value man. What would be your definition if I asked you what that was?
A high value man.
Yeah.
A man that utilizes all of his passions for growth.
Okay.
I feel like everybody. I don't know how spiritual your podcast is, but I believe 100% in Jesus, and I feel like He has blessed every one of us with something. And it might not be something flashy. It might be plumbing. You might be the best plumber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you need to use that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're not using that, you're diminishing your value.
For sure.
And I feel like, again, you might be an athlete. You might be a cook. You might be, somebody just cleaning trash. But I feel like you need to expel 100% of your effort in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then you're doing the wrong thing.
Gotcha.
If you can't give 100% of what you're doing, then you need to be doing something else.
Gotcha.
And picking up trash is probably the wrong example because you can't do 100% of that. But that's a start. If you need to do that to start, 100%. But I'm saying whatever you do what you do one way is what you do everything.
Yeah.
So if you can't pick up trash like an executive, then you're not going to be an executive. Does that make sense? You got to be able to do all roles.
Yeah.
But I feel like as a high value man, you have to be using your passions because God gave us those for a reason. He didn't give it to you just for a hobby.
Yeah.
He didn't give it to you just because He wanted you to kind of enjoy it on your own. You know what I mean? That's something that He gave to you to glorify Him.
Yeah.
So why would He want you to contain that and just keep it to yourself? You know what I mean? So I feel like as a high value man, you have to be using 100% of your passions and giving back the same way that you were giving to.
Gotcha.
So one way is I had a lot of dudes come into my life and show me sports.
Yeah.
And they exposed me to tennis at third grade. I was exposed to tennis, and they gave me a wheelchair. My first tennis expo, because of the potential and the excitement I showed in tennis, they gifted me a wheelchair, and that's a huge gift.
Yeah.
Wheelchairs are no joke; they're expensive.
For sure.
So I feel like that give to me was the seed I needed. And I've been a tennis coach for 10 years now. Yeah. And I feel like I've been trying just to give back that joy that they gave me, because that was something I've never been able to move like. I was never been able to move like that as a kid. I had just a regular wheelchair, but when they gave me this fast one, I had like a new freedom. You know what I mean? So that feeling for me was, I'm like, I got to give this back. That other kids got to experience this because it was so much for me. You know what I mean? And I feel like you have to give back, whether, again, it won't be in sports, whether it's in just being there for your kids, being there for your family, being there for your spouse, being there for your mom, being there for your parents. Whatever is your version of giving back, whatever you received, you should also give it back, because it's not going to stop with the next person. That's only going to grow to the next person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
It's an exponential growth that is going to keep. It's a ripple effect.
That ripple effect, yeah, for sure.
It's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
And if it happened to you, it's going to happen to other people.
For
so
sure.
if you have to jump on it. You can't, yeah, that was cool for me, but maybe somebody might not like tennis. No, somebody's going to, if you have that same passion for it, someone's going to pick up for it. You know what I mean? So I feel like, in whatever that is, you just have to be giving 100% to your passion, and then give back the way you were giving to.
Man, I love that for sure. What keeps people from like doing their passion? Because I feel like a lot of people know what they need to do, but there's a fear that's holding them back to do it. Why do you think that is, and what do you think they can do to get over that fear to just start stepping into the gift that God has given them?
I feel like it's there's a phrase that I heard the other day is that you can't take the island unless you burn the boats.
Yes, sir.
And the boats is your safety net. The boats is that thing that you're not trying to leave because you're comfortable there. It's cushy.
Yeah.
You're not being pressed. You're not being challenged.
Yeah.
But you're still getting what you need to survive, and you're maintaining yourself. So you're in a comfortable gray area to where you're like enjoying what you're doing, but you're not at your full potential.
For sure.
And I feel like that a lot of people it's hard because they don't know what's on the other side. They want the same kind of security, safety net that everything's going to be okay. When you don't see that at first, you're not going to see that until you're 100% committed, because that's when everything's going to start kind of flowing tenfold, and you're going to know, oh yeah, this is what I did it for. But those opportunities are never going to arise if you don't 100% commit. Yeah. So I feel like that kind of speed bump is big on everyone, and no one really knows when to jump. Like you and I said, there's no right time to jump. There's just the right mentality. Yeah. So you got to jump in with the right mindset. You got to jump in with the 100% deciding factor. My boats are burnt. This is my island, and then I'm going to take it over.
I have no other choice.
You don't got another choice. You don't have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have to 100% commit, and those opportunities aren't going to arise until you've gone that way.
Yeah, man. So when I went skydiving, and that's for sure a burn your boat type deal, because when you're in the air, 10,000 feet in the air, and then he's like, all right, you ready? You're not ready. Who's ever going to be ready to jump out of a perfectly good plane? Right. And I told myself I would never do it, but, I just wanted to do it. And so, he told me to back up. And so we're scooting back, and he's like, put your left foot out the plane. And I put my left foot out, put the right foot out, I put my right foot out. And at that point, it was just like, there's no turning back. I'm just, essentially I'm burning these boats. I'm going to get rid of this fear of, heights and jump out of a plane. He asked me if I was ready. I said yes. He didn't give me a countdown or nothing. He just fell out the plane, man. And then a couple of seconds of fear hit. I was like, oh, I'm going to die. Like, oh, this is it. But then you stop and you start looking around and you realize, like, the beauty that, this is doing something that you feared. And then when you land, you realize you didn't die. Right. Yeah.
But then you didn't just jump in the plane and having no recollection that this was going to happen.
For sure.
You did some research.
For sure.
I'm sure you looked up some videos.
I didn't.
No?
Listen, okay, let me tell you exactly how this happened. I told myself I wanted to jump out of a plane before 2021. Okay. And it was getting kind of close. And one day I just got that wild hair and was like, I'm just going to book it. And so I went online. Right. I did not look at where it was at. I just booked the first skydiving company that I saw.
But when he gave you instructions.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, the instructions. Yeah, you're right. I got you. Yeah, I got you.
So you got to the spot. Yeah. And he gave you instructions on what to do once you jump.
Yeah, for sure.
You kind of had a guideline once and you don't realize you have the time to think about those until you're out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But because you have that in the back of your head, you kind of have a little bit of, again, confidence that you know what to do to get out there, to get out of it alive. Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what to do, what it should be like. You know what I mean? So I feel like everybody needs a little bit of instruction. It's not just a jump.
For sure.
It's not just a jump.
You're right.
There's always kind of some guidelines that you have to follow, that you can't jump back. I mean, there's rules. I don't know the exact skydiving rules, but there's certain ways to jump. There's certain ways to pull. There's certain time. I know they give you all these instructions.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the same thing with you when you're jumping in life. You know what I mean? There's guidelines. Don't jump mindlessly. You know what I mean? Don't jump without no no kind of fallback, no kind of safety net, no parachute to rely on. You have to have a game plan.
Yeah.
You have to have a game plan.
Yeah.
But again, when you're out there, once you're out there, you're out there.
You're out there, for sure.
Once you're out there, you're out there.
But I think that's where a lot of the awareness comes from too. I think a lot of my awareness has come from me just doing things in life.
Right.
And not just like, waiting for things to happen for me.
Right.
Just like going out there doing it and then becoming aware of like, oh, like maybe this isn't what I need to be doing. And other doors are opening, and then I'm sliding and doing, other things, and you kind of find that niche because you're doing things that you're supposed to be doing, and it helps with that awareness. So 2 more questions, man. Do you think most men are accountable for their actions?
Do you think most men are accountable for their own actions?
Yeah.
Whether they know it or not, yes.
Okay.
I feel like everyone is accountable. I feel like everyone is accountable unless they're mentally unstable, mentally ill. I'm talking about like diagnosed and with some kind of illness. But everyone, like you and I feel like we're all accountable, but we don't accept it sometimes.
Got you.
Because we know when we mess up. We know when we did something wrong. That's something that's been instilled in us since we were kids. You know what I mean? And I feel like, men and women both are all accountable, but not everybody is willing to own up to it and fess up to it. So, whether that's accepting it is a different story.
Gotcha.
I don't feel everybody accepts it. I feel like a lot of men don't because, again, that's something they try to change within themselves before it's perceived to someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, let me do this, and maybe they'll think something different of me. But really, their thoughts were never the top priority. It was how you are inside.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone's accountable. Everybody knows what they're doing, but some of them aren't willing to accept it and willing to say, yeah, that's my responsibility, like you had, like you told me. Not everybody is willing to say it's my fault.
Yeah. And
because whether they were grown up that way, that's something that was instilled within that has to be kind of brought out. Yeah. That's something that has to be, that was rooted in there somehow because someone planted you as a victim and not as someone who take ownership of something. You know what I mean? So I feel like everyone is accountable, but not everyone accepts it.
Okay, got you. I lied. I got 2 more questions and then we're done. What motivates you in this moment in your life, where you're at? You are a very busy man. I think you have like 5 or 6 different jobs. You know what I mean? Like you're out there and you're doing the work. And it's very inspiring to see. So what is something that's motivating you to do the things that you're doing?
I've said this a bunch of different times, and I really like when this question comes up because it gives me another platform to say it on.
Got you.
And motivation, being motivated, is a mood.
Got you.
Just like being anxious, just like being angry, just like being hangry, just like being nervous. Those are all moods, and at a certain point, everyone gets motivated. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets in this mode, especially like around January. Everybody gets this motivation. Right?
Lose all the weight.
You can't see an empty spot in the gym, right? Because it's a mood.
Until February 1st,
and then everybody gets out of that mood, right? Everybody starts right. So. Motivated is not the thing to describe me. I am not motivated. I'm driven. I feel like I have a drive. I have a purpose that I'm trying to reach. Because that was instilled in me, and I have a drive that I need to chase. I'm going to go do this because I'm proving this to the people.
Yeah.
Being motivated. If you're only working when you're motivated, you're not going to work all the time, and you're not going to work at 100% because that's going to change all the time. I'm not motivated all the time. That'd be lying to you if I was telling you I was always motivated. Because there's some days that I just want to chill and I just want to sit at home. I just want to sit with the family. I just want to play. I don't want to do nothing. You know what I mean? But then the drive in me tells me, okay, there's other people relying on you. Okay, there's these things, there's these goals that you have that are not going to work unless you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got to keep on going. You know what I mean? You got to keep on working towards yourself. And I feel like I said earlier, which might be confusing, I don't want to confuse people, not to chase the bag. Don't chase money. Don't chase materialistic things. Chase your goals. I want to be an Ironman. I want to do the Ironman triathlon.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm chasing. But it's not going to work at my current state. I need to get physically better. I need to get mentally better. And that's something that I got to continuously chase every day.
Yeah.
But monetarily, you can chase money all day and it's not going to get you better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to make yourself better.
Yeah.
So again, motivation is something I feel like works part-time. And if you can get in and out that mood a lot, it's helpful, but you have to find drive and you have to find purpose to stay motivated.
Gotcha. Last question for the folks out there. What is the impact that you want to leave on this earth? My bad. I didn't put it on the whiteboard, so I didn't give you like that question to kind of think about. So
now I knew there was gonna be a curveball here somewhere. For those who don't know, he didn't tell me the address of the spot that I was coming to
for sure
until this morning.
until this morning after 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Jesus.
But I was kind of laying low. I was like, you know what? This is kind of like a mental type podcast. Maybe he's testing me. Maybe this is like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if he's like trying to get a narrative, you know what I mean? But I stayed with it. I was like, I'm not gonna go until he texted me. So, but no. Man, I want people, and I just want people to know that I was 100% committed and selfless to my goals.
Gotcha.
And anywhere I'm at, I'm giving 100% of myself, and I want that to be ingrained into those that I work with.
Gotcha.
I want the people to Adam did this. If Adam can do this, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Adapt and achieve. I say it all the time. I want that to be a mindset instilled in millions.
Yeah.
Because it's really the mindset that's the ignition to everything. That starts it all.
Yeah.
And if I can instill that in others, that's going to be a ripple effect that's going to last beyond my lifetime.
Forever. Essentially.
That's going to be forever. Yeah. That's something so grand that, and so applicable to everybody's life. You know what I mean? Adapt over your obstacles and achieve anything you want to.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so applicable to everybody. Everybody can really chase it and they can use it in their life. And if that's something that they can say, hey, Adam went through this and got through it this way, I can apply that to my life and do it this way. Yeah. And I just want them to know that I was 100% committed, and I gave 100% of myself into everything I did. And if they can do the same, then they're gonna get what I'm getting, and that happiness.
Yeah, awesome. Tell them again where they can find you from.
Man, I appreciate you. My handles are just my name, Adam __ Lucio, Lucio. It's only 1 underscore on TikTok, 2 on Instagram. Until they give me my name, so I get certified or something. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more work, but it's coming.
You will be certified, though. I believe it too, man. I believe it too. For sure.
One day,
yes,
man.
Sir.
And again, not that I need that, but I feel like if anybody, why not me?
Yeah,
you know
for sure.
And like you spoke about with the commercial, I'm not an actor. I'm not claiming to be the next wheelchair George Clooney or nothing, but man, I get so peeved when they put fake wheelchair guys out there. Mm-hmm. When they get an actor to portray a wheelchair man, mm-hmm. when there's actually wheelchair people with these passions. You know what I mean? So if
is that how you got that gig, or
So me, in my mentality, I'm thinking like, man, if there's people portraying to be wheelchair people, why not cast a real wheelchair person for the role?
Gotcha.
I mean, it only makes sense to me. You know what I mean? So. And that kind of started getting on my nerves when I started seeing casting things, people to portray wheelchair people. And I was like, that's not right. But how am I going to complain about it and not take action?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How am I going to complain about it and say that's not right when I'm not putting in my own auditions? You know what I mean? So that's kind of when I started. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to complain about it, I gotta be out there in the eye. So I'm a real wheelchair dude in the real spot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like that's why I kind of got into that. But, But yeah, I really appreciate, man, everything that you're doing.
Yes, sir.
I look on your page every day for motivation.
Yes, sir.
Again, because sometimes I'm down. Sometimes I need a pep talk, even me. And I look to you at what you're doing, and then I look at not only what you're doing, but how you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you do it so humbly. You're a very humble dude, and I admire that about you. But yet, I've also been out with you in the public eye, and you're the star of the party. You know what I mean? And you do that, and you do that too. Yeah, you do that too, man. You know what I mean? So you can, and that's living proof to me that you can be both. You can be humble, but you can also be extroverted. You know what I mean? And be who you need to at that time. And I love that about you, man. So I commend you on that, and I feel like you're a great example for the youth and everything that you're doing with them. So I applaud you on that, man. We're going to keep on going.
I appreciate you, man. All right, everyone. I hope y'all have a great day, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And for daily, motivational, and up-to-date content, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Excellence Above Talent. And remember, keep moving forward, never give up, and you are never alone in this battle. We'll see you next time.